Planet Dolan. We all need a little space to retreat to, our own corner where we can indulge in our geekiest hobbies and interests. But how far would you go to make your perfect hideaway? How geeky are you willing to be? Here are 15 of the best geeky man caves ever. I'm Danger Dolan, and today I will be your narrator.
Number 15.
When 33-year-old Rune Jensen moved into his new house with his girlfriend, they decided to add a little comfort to their basement. They chose the classic jazz stylings of the 1950s with a whiskey and rum cabinet, a vinyl record player, a stocked bookcase, and tufted leather furniture. This cozy corner is for people who enjoy the finer things in life, enjoying Miles Davis with a cigar and 22-year-old single malt.
Number 14.
This geek has invested heavily into all things nerdy with his tiny, cluttered man cave of beats and board games. It's less the size, more the quantity of stuff this guy has that's impressive. 3 MIDI keyboards, an array of samplers, sequencers, and modular synthesizers. And in addition, a vast array of board games that no one could have enough time to play. Sure, other people might own this stuff, but not in an area the size of a closet.
Number 13.
The look and feel of the 80s has made a pretty big comeback with movies like Drive and Blade Runner. This Cyberpunk decided to spend $2,000 on a high-performance PC with LED lighting and color-changing lights to give the room that retro-futuristic feel. Although the computer system rests perilously on very small glass tables, it does look like the kind of man cave that RoboCop would come home to chill out in.
Number 12.
For most guys, the garden shed is where you keep your lawnmower, unopened cans of paint, and a bunch of rusted garden tools. For this truck driver from Atlanta, the shed was a music studio waiting to happen. For under $1,000, he managed to do all the woodwork to create a playing space for his huge record collection, with space for a mixing station and a bunch of cool synths.
Number 11.
Speaking of synthesizers, this electronica whiz kid has built himself a hell playground of programmable sounds. His collection includes nearly 40 different modules of music making, including classic synthesizers dating back to the 80s, as well as an electric drum kit and a few guitars and amps. Even if you're not into making music, it sure is fun to press a load of buttons and colored lights.
Number 10.
This next man cave looks more like a military command center than a place to relax, but it certainly looks like a gamer's paradise. From the PC with top specs to the giant TV with 3 consoles, you're certainly not going to get bored. And of course it has all the Star Wars and Game of Thrones merchandise that we would expect. We might laugh at guys who still live in their parents' basements, but why would you ever want to leave a basement like this?
Number 9.
Don't you hate that feeling when you never have enough guitars and keyboards? A musician hailing from Austin, Texas, has a full circle of instruments in the downstairs den. Even for a professional, this is an impressive stack of synths, amps, battle axes, and MIDI controller systems for computer recording. With this amount of kit, you could probably recreate almost any song, although we assume his neighbors wouldn't be too thrilled about that.
Number 8.
This might look like your school's crappy IT room, but for retro computer enthusiasts, this is heaven. The collection of classic PCs, including the Commodore PET and the Apple II, which were 2 of the first ever PC available for the public to buy. This king of the nerds has collected all the manuals and disk drives that support these ancient machines. Perfect if you want to game a Pong on a flickering CRT screen.
Number 7.
This next man cave certainly wins the prize for effort so far. For $5,500, this guy installed a small-scale cinema for him and his friends, complete with a padded door for entry, a ticket office. The creator used computer-assisted design programs to map out his basement space, allowing him to custom fit a ceiling of fiber optic lights for that star-studded premiere effect.
Number 6.
This arsenal of artillery was believed by many gun nuts around the internet to belong to actor and National Rifle Association president Charlton Heston. In fact, it was an underground vault collection belonging to Connecticut attorney Bruce Stone, who owned over 4,000 pieces. Although this military man cave would be perfect for anyone planning a war, sadly the antique automatics were auctioned off when Stone died, reaching a total of over $12 million.
Number 5.
We can't tell if this next luxury man cave designed for a sophisticated playboy or for a bunch of old man hunters. Created by a New Jersey interior design firm and costing an unimaginable amount of money, this man cave is like having a pub in your house. A pub that smells of rich mahogany. There's a stage for bands, snooker table, actual bar, fireplace, and a wine rack. This cave would put Bruce Wayne to shame.
Number 4.
This next one is less of a man cave and more of a man warehouse. The owner brought himself a whole warehouse and filled it with cheap Halloween decorations and discounted arcade games. Its appeal lies in the sheer amount of stuff going on, even if all of it looks pretty tacky. Every child would be excited to see this number of toys, and every adult probably even more so.
Number 3.
For some people, the man cave is a place to store our collections and hobbies, and for Bob Rattle, this can be a challenge as he holds the record for the largest collection of comic books. Around his house and in his garage are nearly 100,000 issues, which would weigh around 7.5 tons. His first comic was Spider-Man back in 1970, and since then it's grown to a fortress of fiction.
Stop staring, they're just girls. It's nothing you haven't seen in movies or in drawings.
Number 2.
With no real experience in building anything, an Austin-based graphic designer decided to tear up an old school bus to make his perfect work and play space. The bus was fitted with plumbing, wiring, internet and TV, everything a man might need, and the creator actually lived in the vehicle for years after finishing it. With public transport departments auctioning off old equipment, who knows, we might pick up a bargain.
Number 1.
Star Trek fan Tony Allain may hold the title for geekiest man cave ever, as he spent 10 years converting his entire apartment into a working replica of the Star Trek Enterprise spaceship interior. Unfortunately for Tony, his ex-wife owned the flat and forced him to sell it. He couldn't find a buyer, so he ripped out the original Enterprise design and replaced it with one from Star Trek Voyager. Sadly, Tony never got much use out of it, as he's currently in jail, and you can't get beamed up out of there. I was especially upset when I first heard the news of him getting arrested. I was like, what a waste of a great fucking apartment. Well done for being a wanker. What? Danger Dawn, did you know that we have a countdown book featuring some of our best scripts on sale now? Links down below for the physical and ebook versions. That is it for this countdown. Have a good one!